Sounds like we know who's leading tonight.
Okay, it is 6:59. I'd like to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Can I get with a reminder to silence all the electronic devices and a reminder this is being video and audio recorded on the school's website. Ms. Williams, can I get a roll call, please?
Yes, Chairman Alexander. Dr. Shante Jones.
Here.
Ms. Stacy Cyberling.
Here.
Ms. Ellen Slobodnik.
Here.
Mr. Michael Cummings.
Here.
Mr. Paul Alexander.
Here.
All are present.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Cyberling, would you please lead us with a moment of silence and then the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please stand for a moment of silence. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Cyberling. All righty. Now, do we have any additions or corrections to the agenda? No?
We do not have any.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Can I get a
Second.
Second. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Moving on to consent agenda. Can I get a motion and a second to approve consent agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda, or the consent agenda.
Second.
All right. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving right along. School Board Committee reports. Finance Committee, Ms. Slobodnik.
Good evening, School Board. The Finance Committee will be meeting this week for the first time, and so we will have more to report next time.
All right, thank you, ma'am. All right, moving on to Superintendent Spotlight.
Good evening. I'd like Dr. Grosser to come forward and share some great news happening in the division.
Good evening, Chairman Alexander and members of the board. First off tonight, I'm sporting my casual attire today because I'd like to mention that we had a great morning here in Manassas Park City Schools. We had our Fall Special Olympics this morning, and I have some great pictures and some stories I'm going to share with you in our spotlight at the next board meeting. But for those of you that were able to make it out there this morning, I'm sure you saw how much fun our kids had. I heard at one point we had 11 buses of students come from Manassas City to join us. We had members of our police department, our fire department, the state police, all of our teachers and our students, and everybody just having a great morning. And the weather cooperated, so it was a really fun time. So next meeting, I look forward to sharing some of those pictures with you guys. So tonight we are going to start off first with our most valuable Cougar. Justin Victor was named Most Valuable Cougar at Manassas Park High School Expectations of Excellence ceremony on September 28th. This honor speaks highly of his character and his accomplishments, as well as the high regard he holds with his peers and the faculty at Manassas Park High School. Justin has been a student with Manassas Park since he was in first grade. He's involved in SLC, he's a vice president of NHS, he's in Beta Club, United and Strong, and the Yearbook Club. Justin has plans to attend Marymount University and major in psychiatry. After his undergraduate, he plans on going to dental school, and his goal is to become an orthodontist. He's a hard worker outside of school, and he's held jobs at Tropical Smoothie Cafe, the Target in Gainesville, and Cracker Barrel. Justin says one of his passions is singing. He says, and I quote, "I love to sing and be part of big ensembles. When everything comes together, it creates something that is truly astounding to hear. I love to cook and prepare meals with my mother. She's taught me a lot about cooking and general life skills." He participates in his church choir and his church television ministry. Justin has held a 4.0 GPA throughout all of high school. He's joined tonight by his mother and some of his other family members. And so tonight we want to recognize Justin for his accomplishments and congratulate him on being the most valuable Cougar.
That's nice. Oh, that's perfect. I got it right. 1, 2. Mom, you want a picture? Anybody else? Anybody else want a picture? I can send you one.
I don't need to take a picture or?
Yeah, I got one. I can send you one. Or unless you want to come up and take one, or you want to get in? Oh, yeah. All right, perfect. 1, 2.
Keep forgetting you can get around.
I'll send that to you. Oh, no, thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Congratulations. All right, next up, just before the start of Bullying Prevention Month, which I believe you're going to hear more about in the following presentation, Manassas Park City Schools held its Fall SEL Night. The Fall 2023 Social Emotional Learning and Bully Prevention Night was held here on the Manassas Park Plaza. Once again, we had a great turnout for this event, and just as good, the weather cooperated as well. We had at least 132 students complete 5 or more activities about emotions, bully prevention, coping skills, and even attendance. 178 family members signed in, and that is 139 more attendees than we had at last year's Fall SEL Night. 139 more families than this time last year. We also had 19 student volunteers from Manassas Park's NHS, NJHS, and Beta Club helping to assist our families in completing these activities. To make the night even sweeter, there were about 350 scoops of ice cream served by Moo Through. Some of our counselors are in attendance with us this evening, and it is due to their hard work in coordinating every detail of this event that makes it a success. So thank you to our counselors and our student services team for providing a fun, engaging, informative, and a very important event for our students and families. And finally tonight, recently Manassas Park City Schools announced a new partnership with George Mason University and their high school direct admissions program. The direct admissions program is a post-secondary option for high school seniors who have a GPA of 3.25 or higher. Those students will receive direct admission to George Mason University through a streamlined application process with no fees, essays, or letters of recommendations required. Seniors who meet the GPA requirement will automatically receive an acceptance letter to George Mason University. Now, this is the first year that we've had this program and partnering with George Mason, but we did have 80 students who qualified. And those 80 students all received letters in the mail about their acceptance to GMU, and they're currently working with our counselors at the high school to figure out how to go through that streamlined application process. Many of these students will also qualify for tuition assistance programs as well. So congratulations to those 80 students, and thank you to George Mason for partnering with us to give our students a great opportunity after graduation. And that concludes our spotlight this evening.
All right, thank you, Dr. Grosser. Any board member comments?
I'll start. I just wanted to say congratulations again to Justin. It sounds like you are a very well-rounded student. And we can't wait to hear about the rest of your accomplishments that you have once you leave Manassas Park and you go on to Marymount and beyond. So thank you for all of your hard work. It was great to hear about the participation in the SEL night. I know I went to one last year, so it's great to hear that it's continuing to grow. And thank you to the hard work for the counselors. It is definitely seen and very much appreciated. We know you guys do above and beyond, so thank you for everything. And it's just really great to hear that we have 80 students to qualify for the GMU admissions program. That's really, really great for us. So thank you to everyone who helped with all of the things that we heard about.
The only thing I have to say is maybe ditto with all of that. It's great. Yes, the amazing turnout on the SEL event. That's quite impressive. And also thank you to our city council for making such a great space happen. Because I do think the plaza is a great space, and I think we can have many more events there, and we'll see more turnout as well. So thank you to the city council for that.
I just wanted to say, as one of the 80 students that got the GMU direct admissions letter, I just want to say thank you to George Mason University for giving our students another opportunity to even go to college. That's a really big thing. I know we have a lot of students in our district that graduate with honors, but not all of them end up going to a four-year institution, and I think that's something that we can definitely work on. And last but not least, I just wanted to shout out Justin. We've known each other for a long time. Funny story, so after he was announced as Most Valuable Cougar, when he walked in the fourth block, the entire choir class was chanting his name, and it was just an amazing thing to witness, and I was honored to be one of the finalists along with Justin and Mr. Alexander's daughter, Maddie. And I'm very proud of this class, and I can't wait to see where they go after college. So congratulations, Justin. I'm very proud of you, and I will see you tomorrow morning.
Yep. Without beating a dead horse, Justin, congratulations. You know I love you. And Miles, you as well. Congrats on being a finalist. You guys are both amazing, and your parents should be so proud of the students and young adults you've become. So thank you both. All right, so moving on to public comments. Ms. Williams, do we have anyone signed up for public comment?
No, Chairman Alexander.
All right, moving right along. New business. Student Services, Bully Prevention Awareness Month.
I'd like to invite Mr. Neff, Executive Director of Student Services and Operations, and his Student Services staff to provide this presentation this evening.
Good evening, Chairman Alexander, members of the board, as you're aware, the Virginia School Board Association has dedicated the month of October as Bullying Prevention Month. And while it's nice to provide a spotlight to prevention for a month, I want the board to know and our community know that our counselors, our support staff, our administration, everyone in the building does their best to spotlight this important issue every month of the year during the school year. So it's a collective team effort by everyone involved at the schools. This presentation touches on all three of the pillars of the strategic plan: reimagining the school experience, building community and connection, and creating safe spaces. I am pleased tonight to be joined by counselors from each of our 4 schools, as well as Dr. Charmaine Everett, Student Assistant Program Specialist for the division. They will share the highlights of the programs as well as the data for you this evening. Dr. Everett.
Okay, good evening. By definition of bullying, as defined by the state of Virginia, it means any aggressive and unwanted behavior that is intended to harm, intimidate, or humiliate the victim, involves a real or perceived power imbalance between the aggressor or the aggressors and victim, and is repeated over time, or causes severe emotional trauma. Bullying includes cyberbullying. Bullying does not include ordinary teasing, horseplay, argument, or peer conflict.
So I actually created this graphic to make it more kid-friendly because bullying can often be confused with joking around or teasing, peer conflict, mean moments, and then there's also bullying. And you'll see on this graphic, there's different images that makes it more kid-friendly for the kiddos to understand. And you'll see also down the bottom, there's a weight, and I often, when I'm in classes and I'm teaching kiddos about bullying, we talk about the balance of power. And so joking around or teasing, peer conflict, and mean moments all have equal balances of power. And one large component of bullying is that unequal balance of power. And as Dr. Grosser talked about, we had our social emotional learning night on Thursday, September 28th. I'm actually the social emotional learning division lead. So we planned this event we had it at City Hall, and we wanted to have it to kick off the Bullying Prevention Month. The activities included activities about the 5 CASEL competencies, which kiddos are taught about in their Rethink Ed, the social emotional learning curriculum, which we have here at Manassas Park. They were also had scenarios where they were learning about bullying prevention and conflict resolutions, and they had the quadrant that I previously just showed with different scenarios so they could decide and learn along with their parents about mean moments, conflict, and peer conflict, mean moments, and joking around or teasing versus bullying. We also had our attendance to show parents the importance of kiddos coming to school every day and how little minutes can really impact the amount of time that they miss at school. As she mentioned, there were 178 attendees, 132 which were students. We had fire, police departments, and also 19 Manassas Park students that came. And we're hoping to plan another SEL night in the spring because we had a lot of positive feedback from the parents. A funny story, at the last spring social emotional learning night, there was a parent who came up to me and goes, "Who planned this event?" And I'm starting to freak out. And I was like, and the parent just came to me and they're like, "I just want to let you know how much we enjoy this event. We had conversations with our student that we never had before, and it just made it worthwhile." And we're hoping in the spring to have more events about test prep, test anxiety, and also having kiddos being able to take home a SEL book for as like a take home.
Okay, so I'm here to just talk a little bit about what we're doing at Cougar Elementary School to promote social emotional learning, bullying prevention, and everything else as well. So first off, I just want to say that shortly after we got back from being virtual learners during that time of COVID, the Virginia Department of Education had a strong initiative where they encouraged school systems to take a heavy look at social emotional learning. So as a part of that initiative, we brought in the Rethink Ed program, which has been spearheaded by Ms. Rupert, as well as the other counselors in our division. So with that being said, as a part of the Rethink Ed program that we have at Cougar Elementary School, it's a part of their daily beginning of the school day. They come in at 8:25, and from 8:25 to 8:55, they're spending that first 30 minutes of their school day learning about social emotional learning. As it relates to our topic for this evening, you can see on the monitors that during week 7 of the curriculum, we're going to have a strong emphasis on social awareness as well as safe and ethical behaviors. More specifically, with our kindergarten classes, their lessons will be titled Telling versus Tattling, so learning the distinction between those two. And then in first grade, they're going to talk about rules, rules, rules. And then second grade, a buddy or a bully. Along with the Rethink Ed program, something that we've been promoting at Cougar Elementary School for several years now is our bucket filling program. The idea behind the bucket filling program is that everyone walks around with an invisible bucket. And we can either fill someone's bucket with happy feelings, or we can dip those happy feelings out of someone's bucket. So it's our way of making it kid-friendly to encourage our students to be nice to each other and to make each other have happy days at school instead of ruining each other's days. Along with the bucket filling program, we do have our student bucket fillers of the month. So every month, the homeroom teacher will select one student that has been exemplifying exceptional bucket filling behavior, helping their classmates, getting their work done, and just being awesome all-around students. Every month, a student is selected, their name is announced over the intercom, and we also have our awesome admins at Cougar Elementary School that prepare a breakfast of pancakes for those students as well. And their name is also listed in our parent newsletter as well, so the whole community is aware of who was selected that month. We also have our staff bucket filler of the month program as well, where we are partnered with Brown Subaru, and every month a staff member is nominated based off of all the votes that the other staff members cast. And once a winner is selected, that winner the name will be given to Brown Subaru. They come on out with a nameplate that is placed on a special plaque in the front office, and that staff member also receives a monetary gift card from Brown Subaru as well. So it's our way of promoting good behaviors from the students, but also we're providing a little incentive for the staff members as well. With that being said, we also have our Kelso's Choices conflict resolution lessons that are taught by counselors in Cougar Elementary School, and it's also talked about more by the actual homeroom teachers themselves. So it's something that once it's taught to the students, they are expected to continue to practice resolving conflicts with each other. How can we resolve conflicts? We can walk away if someone's dipping in our bucket. We can tell them to stop. We can go play a different game. There are several Kelso's Choices that our students learn about and they start to practice at this grade level. We already mentioned the bullying quadrant, which is something that we heavily use anytime a student mentions the word bullying, because we want to teach them the actual language. Is it bullying or is it not bullying? If it's not bullying, then what is it instead? Is it a mean moment? Is it a conflict? Is it joking? Is it teasing? And then last but not least, it is important for us to acknowledge the fact that all bullying reports, whether it comes from a student, a teacher, or a parent, it is documented and it is investigated every single time. And whether it's deemed bullying or not, there are prevention steps that are put into place, a plan that's put into place to ensure that our students are learning, but they're also being safe as well.
I'm here to talk about Manassas Park Elementary Schools. They also, just like Cougar, we have the daily social emotional learning via their Rethink Ed lessons. And for this specific week of week 7 for Rethink Ed curriculum, for 3rd grade, they learned about being a buddy and not a bully, the profile of a bully, and also being an upstander for 4th and 5th. And something that's important to see during week 7, you'll see on my slide, as well as Mr. Costin's, and then the middle school slide, is that the themes of each grade level are the same for each. The themes for is consistent amongst the schools from K to 8 for the lessons that they're getting each week. So if a kiddo goes home that's in 1st grade and they have a sibling in 5th grade, they're both learning about bullying the same week. Or in week 7, I'm not positive what the theme is, but they're learning about the same themes each week, which is a big component of why we chose Rethink Ed. Something that we have at Manassas Park Elementary School is our Positive Paw program. It's our school-wide behavioral management system in order to promote being respectful, responsible, and ready to learn. Our kiddos sure do know their 3 R's, so if you ever come in and ask them about their 3 R's, they know them. They actually all have these tickets where they can get recognized by their teachers, staff members when they're responsible, respectful, and ready to learn, and then they can enter them in for a raffle. We also have our Cougar of the Month, which we make pancakes. Many individuals over there have joined us for putting the syrup and the chocolate chips and the whipped cream on it. Then we also, new this year, we have our positive office referrals. And when students come down, they can be nominated by any staff member. They can come down to the office for a good reason. So far this year, I believe we've had 8 or 9. They get their picture taken, and then they also get up on the bulletin board, and they get to be the person who wipes off the last number, so they get to increase it by 1 where it says total amount of positive referrals this year. It's really awesome. And then we also, like Cougar, we have the What is Bullying quadrant all over the school, and in every classroom we talk about the bullying, the conflict, the mean moments, and teasing, especially when the bullying word comes up. And we do take all bullying reports seriously and make sure that they're documented and investigated.
So representing the middle school, we do something very similar to elementary land, just a little bit more different because we are trying to incorporate a little more independence in middle school land. Something that we represent at our school is Cougar Pride, hoorah, which stands for positive, responsible, inspirational, determined, and engaged. This is something that is announced in our announcements every day and something that all of our students and staff know and incorporate on a daily basis. Similar to MPE and Cougar, we do have a system where if we catch a student demonstrating Cougar Pride, they are able to get a PAW, which is just a slip of paper, and turn that in at lunchtime for a piece of candy, which is awesome. We also incorporate social emotional learning lessons provided by Rethink Ed. We do this every Tuesday. So Tuesday is a dedicated Pride Day. So every day, Tuesday, roughly between first and second block, everybody stops what they're doing and we all dive into social emotional learning time. So if you were to walk in the middle school between first and second block, you can almost guarantee that when you walk into a classroom, that is what our students are learning about, which is pretty cool. We also incorporate weekly SEL morning/afternoon announcements. So based on what they were talking about with the different weekly Rethink Ed curriculums, there's different announcements that go with that. So this is our announcement for this week. Being a friend does not mean that we allow anyone to bully us or those around us. As you talk about bullying and strategies to combat bullying, remember that we are a family here at NPMS. Cute, I know. This week, for Bullying Week, we are focusing on our 6th grade have Bullies Bully as the theme. 7th grade is Stand Up Against Bullying, and our 8th graders are talking about speaking out against bullying. We also utilize the What is Bullying quadrant at our school. This was given to all of our staff members at the beginning of the year, where they are able to hang it on their classrooms if they want, so all of our kids are familiar with what it looks like and are able to go through the different quadrants. I know that I'm speaking on behalf of my counseling team. We all utilize it. So anytime a student uses, as we call it, like the B word, they come in and we go through the different quadrant to figure out if it truly is bullying. And again, just like the elementary school, we take every bullying report seriously so that if needed, it needs to be reported up, we will do that, and all parents are called as well. So yeah, that's middle school land for you.
Hi. So I'm here to talk about the high school.
So this year for Anti-Bullying Week, we did a Spirit Day division-wide, and it was the same for everyone. So we had Community Week as the theme. On Monday, when we had no school, students were encouraged to talk about kindness with their family and friends at home. On Tuesday, we had Pajama Day, don't sleep on bullying, see something, say something. At the high school, that was the most popular. On Wednesday, we did a Unity Day where different grade levels wore different colors, orange being the unity color, and then blue and green are associated with anti-bullying also, so we kind of split them up so that everybody was represented there. On Thursday, it was Being Kind as a team sport, where everyone wore athletic wear and sneakers. That was also kind of popular, but not as much as Pajama Day. And then on Friday was Cougar Pride Day, where everybody wore their Manassas Park gear. We also utilized the bullying quadrant at the high school. It's posted everywhere for everyone to see. We do the same documenting and reporting that everyone else does also. And for SEL, we are starting the mental health suite of Rethink Ed at the high school in November. So soon we will be talking about a little bit more heavy topics and more age appropriate for high school level, where students are getting older and requiring more self-regulation. Thank you.
Forgive me, I failed to mention my role in all of this. So of the many tasks that I have in my role, for this particular instance, I am responsible for investigating any incidences of bullying if they escalate to that point. As of July 2023, the state of Virginia said that if the B word is used, that's what we call it, if bullying is said, then we have 24 hours to notify that parent and family of that, victim and accused. So we have gone through and done some statistics for you. I started here in October of 2019, so I went all the way back to that time of when I was present for these conversations. So on this screen, the blue marks represents the report. So anytime the word was used, and the red represents it when it was investigated. So in 2019 and 2020, okay, this is for Cougar, we had 14 incidences that were reported, 3 that were investigated. In 2021, that was the COVID year, we had 3 incidences. And remember, we were on Zoom, so even CPS reporting was down that year as well because we couldn't see a lot of things happening. In 21-22, we had 7 incidences and 2 investigated. In 22-23, we had 33 reports and 3 investigated. And then finally in 23-24, as of September the 14th, we had 0 investigations and 2 reported. For Manassas Park Elementary School, in 2019-2020, we had 2 reports and 1 investigation, no reports and no investigations the following year, which again was the COVID year. 21-22, we had 9 reports and 4 investigations, 11 reports and 0 investigations in 22-23, and 5 reports and 0 investigations this current school year. At the middle school, we had 5 reports in 1920 and 4 investigations, none in 2021. We had 18 reports in 21-22 and 3 investigations, and 17 reports and 9 investigations 22-23, and none as of the September the 14th. And finally, at the high school, 2 reports in 1920, 1 investigated, 0 investigations, 1 report, 8 investigations, 8 reports, none investigated in 21-22. 22-23, we had 4 reports and 3 investigations, and none thus far. I will say that understanding that chart and having a very cognizant definition of what bullying is and is not has been imperative. A lot of times, I would say less than 10 incidences have actually been founded. If it is founded, or either way, I make the phone call with the administrator. The administrator issues consequences if it gets to that level, but I am there for understanding and explaining the investigative pieces, the facts only pertaining to that student. Sometimes we put things in place like restorative conversations, or maybe there's a schedule change, or maybe there's a bus change, or things of that nature on the school level. At all possible, it's not escalated to me unless it sincerely and genuinely is, those 3 lines are met. Repeat and ongoing behavior, aggressive and unwanted, and a power imbalance. If those 3 answer yes across, then it typically does come to me, but it doesn't always necessarily mean it's founded. And I'm grateful for the counselors for intervening before it gets to that level, so that we understand, again, what it is and what it is not A lot of times it's pure conflict or mean moments that we've noticed. So 2021, 2020 was the COVID year, and
So actually, while we were making these graphs, if you notice for 2022, 2023, that was our first year of implementation of the social emotional learning curriculum. So first, when I saw this graph, I was shocked. I was like, whoa. But then I realized our students are being educated. They're knowing the difference between joking around, teasing, conflicts, mean moments versus bullying. And they're learning how to be upstanders rather than bystanders. So instead of just standing by and watching things happen, they're standing up for what is right and reporting what they think is bullying. And that's when we come into play and we educate these kiddos about what it is and what it is not. So when you see that 51 up there and you see that star, and then you see the decline, that's because our social emotional learning curriculum, it's working. So now they're knowing what bullying is and they know how to report it. And this graph right here is for all schools across the division.
All right, we're going to end this on a fun note. So as you can see, this infographic shows what took place across the division all of last week. It was our community week where we promoted, anti-bullying behavior, bullying prevention, and we encouraged all of our schools, all of our students, even our staff members to participate so that we were all united on this one front of standing up against bullying. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have any board member questions? Mrs. Lavely?
It's just questions or community comments too?
Either, yeah.
I have no questions. I just want to say thank you for all the hard work. The data was great to see that they're really, they're learning and they're really seeing the difference. And I took a snapshot of your quadrant because I love it and I'm going to use it in my line of work as well at my school. So thank you. Oh, please send it to me. It's great, but you guys are doing a great work. It's showing very creative with Unity, the community week, excuse me. And so again, just thank you for everything that you guys do. It's really amazing.
I also wanted to say thank you. I think one of the things we fight right now across our region is attendance, and I think making an environment that is positive and accepting and inclusive and very aware, and we're protecting, our students are protecting each other, makes them want to come to school. So thank you very much.
Say ditto from my fellow board members. So thank you all so much. We see the hard work. We know that you're putting in the work, and we see from the data that it is working. So thank you all so much.
I absolutely want to say thank you, guys. Using this, seeing what you guys are working on could definitely be looked upon and used in other divisions as well. It's a great leadership opportunity. Also, could you send me that? That was I love that. It's nice. Well done.
All right, so I have questions. All right. Just a couple. So is the expectation essentially that as the kids learn the curriculum that you expect to see more reporting, obviously, at Cougar and at MPE, because those are the kids that are kind of newer to not understanding it, whereas the reports at the high school and the middle school would eventually start to decrease, or at least those reports would be actual cases as opposed to just claims. Is that kind of a fair? Yes. Okay. Because then the next step would be maybe in years to come we could continue to see the metrics of that to see if that actually trends out the way that it's supposed to. And then the only other question I had was related to the reporting. Do you see any negative impacts? Like you mentioned, the state requires 24 hours to report. Is there any negative impact to the family? Like, just plain speaking, if I got a call said my daughter was bullying or my son was bullying, even before the investigation was over, there would be some swift parental justice taking place, rightful or wrong. So I'm just curious, is there any impact to find out, actually there was no bullying? Have we experienced any of that? Has it been pretty quiet in that kind of?
I always say best practice, like when we call, we're just giving you a heads up. An investigation is really a strong word.
Okay.
So, I try to, and I think the admin agrees, we kind of minimize that. We're looking into this conversation. And please, at home, please don't move forward and do anything until we finish, because we give you a call when it's done.
Gotcha.
And we let you know the outcomes either way. So I make those phone calls with the admin in case they have questions about the process, and then they speak on the other end if applicable consequences of that nature. So we make the calls together so they know we're a team, but also to combat any of those, what's happening with the other student and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So, yeah, we don't want you to take any action or anything until we're finished with.
She talked me off the ledge then. All right, thank you. All right.
I'm right there
I
with you, Paul.
think the parent awareness with the phone call is important, because I know we've had personally an incident where there's been just the phone call alone, that's all that's needed, just a phone call. And just making sure the parents are involved, engaged, whether there's a problem or not, it just puts everybody on the same level, and we're all communicating, and that's all that needs to happen, is just that communication.
And I would just like to thank the counselors and Dr. Everett for being here tonight to do the presentation. The messaging is so important, and I think we saw an increase in the numbers right as we came back from COVID. Our students weren't together around one another for a long period of time, and I think those numbers are going to continue to decrease as the messaging continues to increase, not only by our counselors, but our entire staff throughout the buildings.
Thank you. Yeah, I would, to add on to that, bullying has become such a key word, it's a trigger word, that I think that getting people to understand what it really is critical. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great work.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on to the action agenda. So,
Instruction.
we're not.
Gotta do
yes,
some-
We still have instruction. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to invite Ms. Kelso, Executive Director of Teaching and Learning, to present the Student Achievement Update. And just a shout out to our principals who are here with her as well. Instruction is led at the building level by principals and division and teachers. And so just a shout out to them for doing such a great job as well.
All right, thank you, Dr. Saunders. Good evening, Chair Alexander and members of the board. I'm here this evening to share with you our student achievement data from last school year. Accreditation results have recently been finalized, and I will provide a high-level overview of our achievement data this evening. I would also like to thank our principals who are in attendance. You're going to see a lot of numbers tonight. Know that behind all of these numbers there are many stories. There's a lot of hard work, diligence, persistence. I could go on and on. That they do each and every day. So as instructional leaders, they're outstanding and top-notch. As for our pillars for our strategic plan, this presentation will align with Pillar 1, reimagining the school experience. Just a reminder that student achievement results were not available due to the closure of schools and cancellation of state assessments in 2019 and 2020 due to the pandemic. Student achievement results from 2020-2021 reflect reduced student participation. Results from 21-22 and 22-23 were calculated and used in state accreditation ratings. For this past school year, the Virginia Growth Assessment was used. Students were assessed on reading and mathematics content primarily from their current grade level content in the fall and winter, with results compared to their SOL scores. English language proficiency growth was also considered as a part of reading growth for English learners. Tonight's presentation provides an overview of the official state data on the Virginia School Quality Profile. You can get in there and sort results, look at different school division scores, specific school scores, all sorts of data points that are collected across the state. So I'm going to start out with our achievement data. So these are raw numbers. No adjustments have been made to these results. These are combined and overall division results by subject area. They include elementary, middle school, and high school scores. And they reflect the performance by all students in these particular subject areas. We did have a slight decrease to our reading results and a slight increase to our writing results. The state reading average was 73, and it was 73 the year before. So those state numbers, the state average stayed the same for both reading and writing. So the state writing average this year was 65, and it was 65 last year. So you can see for our writing scores were above the state average. We have math next. Math and science have probably suffered the most from interrupted education during the pandemic. Math has been slower to recover than reading across the board, especially if students miss particular concepts over time. The gaps became more pronounced. We did have slight increases in math. The state math average this year was 69. It was 66 last year, so there also was a slight increase in the state averages for scores. For science and history, we had an increase in science and a slight, very slight drop in history. For state science, the state average was 67, so it was 65 the year before, so it went from 65 to 67, so they also experienced a slight increase in the state averages. And for state history, there was also a slight drop. It was 65 this year, 66 the previous year. So remember that as we consider math and reading, the governor's all-in initiative is really focused on grades 3 through 8. So those were the achievement results. I do want to touch on accreditation. So all schools in the division are accredited, so that is something to be very proud of. Also want to remind everyone this is the final year of our designation with triennial accreditation, which is a 3-year period. The 3 years did not count the 2 years where accreditation was waived during the COVID-19 pandemic. There is also currently discussion at the Virginia Board of Education on a new accreditation and accountability system. So we're closely monitoring that, and we'll certainly inform you of what changes are going to be happening with that as well. Just a reminder that chronic absenteeism is also one of the indicators for state accreditation, and that was discussed at the work session 2 weeks ago, but I will not be presenting that particular indicator here tonight. So I'm going to go through all the state accreditation indicators besides chronic absenteeism and let you see those results. So we'll start with English. This is English academic achievement of all students. So these are adjusted scores. They include the standards of accreditation or SOA adjustment. They account for recovery, which includes remediation that's consistent throughout the school year and or attendance at summer school. Also includes the Virginia Growth Assessment growth in grades 3 through 8, and then WIDA growth for English scores here at the elementary, middle school, and high school level. So these results are broken down by school building, but remain combined grade levels for that building. So for example, at the middle school, English achievement for grades 6, 7, and 8, that's what it is. It's not broken down specifically by grade level. You certainly can go into the Virginia Standards of Quality and go to Manassas Park Middle School and look specifically at each grade level of achievement. At the end of all this data, I will go through some of the division level steps as well as school level steps to address what you see here this evening. And a reminder that the only reading grade level tested at the high school is 11th grade. CES and MPE are counted together, but the only SOLs are given in grades 3 through 5. But they are reported as the same score. And as we go through this, at the high school level, Virginia has significantly cut back the number of SOLs are needed. So just think about that as you see the scores. And to highlight our reading growth was once again factored into accreditation results as students at MPE and MPMS took both the Fall and Winter Virginia Growth Assessment, or VGA. Students making growth contributed to these adjusted pass rates, as did English language learner proficiency. You can see that the EL progress doubled or tripled from last year's, contributed with growth. I think that speaks a lot to the consistency of instruction last year and our students' ability to increase their level of English proficiency. I did want to highlight CES with their PALS scores. I think that's important to look at as well, as far as looking at this English and literacy data. So this is a case where we would like the numbers to be lower, so don't be alarmed to see it lower. We want to see that. We had a lower number of students below benchmark at the end of the year, and this rate has dropped since the pandemic. We continue to strive to bring this number down. Per the Virginia Literacy Act, which I'll talk more about throughout this year, there will be a new PALS test used next school year. So between scholastic formative assessments and our UFly program, we're doing a better job of tracking our data and are able to make quicker instructional decisions to help our students recover faster, especially at the lower elementary level. And then more specifically, you can see by grade level, this PALS data. Again, we want to see lower numbers for that to be lower. You can see this broken down by grade level, large drop at the first grade level, so that was good to see. Just a reminder that these students were severely impacted by school disruptions or everything that was happening when they were born right before the pandemic. So just keep that in mind as well. And our math academic achievement. So these math scores also include our SOA adjustments and VGA, Virginia Growth Assessment testing. We did see some struggles at the transition years of 3rd grade and 6th grade. So the scores would likely have been higher. There were some success stories which I'll share, but we did see some struggle at those transition levels. So that is something we're definitely taking a closer look at. And our math growth numbers, a significant number there, about just over 50% of the passing scores were impacted by that growth. So that is a good thing, that we do have this and we can demonstrate that our students are making progress throughout the years compared to the year before. So that did factor into about half of the scores. And our science achievement, we are very proud of the increase at the elementary school. There was a heavy focus there for curriculum and instruction, professional learning support, and we look forward to continuing that. We did add Miss Maurer as our science specialist at the 2nd semester last year, and she's quickly worked to help support each of our schools. The high school level, biology is the main SOL test, so that pass rate was 59. But you see lower numbers of students taking chemistry and earth science, so the scores are a little bit skewed for those particular subject areas. Keep in mind that science is cumulative for 5th grade, and then again for 8th grade. So in 8th grade, they're testing on content from 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So that's always been, it can be really tricky at the middle school level. And overall, the science scores across the state were pretty low. And a new indicator, which was counted this year, is the CCCRI, or the College Career and Civic Readiness. So this is a new indicator. It's an index that measures for the graduating cohort student preparation for college and careers while in high school. Credit is given for advanced coursework, CTE courses and credentials, JROTC coursework and credentials, which we do not offer here, work-based learning, and then also a service learning component. The high school staff is working on having students complete this earlier in their high school careers, in particular looking at the service learning component and what that might look like. We're working towards hiring our work-based learning coordinator at the high school, and that position will really, this will be an important part of that particular position, is overseeing this data for the CCCRI. You're looking for a target rate of 85%, so we were at level 2 in the yellow there at 74.84%. And we did spend a lot of time going through each student and making sure that If they had an area where they counted, we were able to find that. And we did find some places where there was some record keeping, and we made sure to correct that, resubmit it, and our percentage went up into level 2. So I think this is an area that will continue to increase. And then our graduation or GCI completion and our dropout rate. So you can see we have a dip there, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a second. The Graduation and Completion Index, or GCI, is a measure of a graduating cohort based on weighted student outcomes. So those outcomes for weighting include students who earn a diploma, a GED, a certificate of completion, or remain active in school membership on the last day of school. The GCI is used in the determination of state accreditation. You can see we had a drop. We'll take a closer look at that. The cohort, so the graduation cohort, is the number of students in the school identified as first-time ninth graders in the 2019-2020 school year, with adjustments made for transfers in, transfers out, and students permitted to take longer than the 4 years to graduate or complete school. So when Mr. Forrest and his team dug deeper into these numbers, you can see the cohort carries the students all the way through. So if they leave, they must enroll in another institution in order for them to be removed from the cohort list. So there were 306 students on the cohort list. If you were graduation, you know that wasn't the number of students that graduated. So some of these students have carried on, even though they haven't been at the high school for a couple of years, they're still on the cohort list because they have not enrolled in another institution, whether it's in-state or out of state, to finish their schooling. So the real difference there, 272 students were enrolled in Power School seniors as of March 2023. There was a difference of 34 of those students that, for whatever reason, we could not track down. Lots of phone calls to other schools. I know, speaking as a former principal of the high school, visiting homes, knocking on doors. Did students move out of the country? Where did they go? If we remove those 34 students, you had 259 students who were awarded a diploma at graduation last June, in addition to 2 summer graduates, for a total of 261. If you took those 261 students out of that 272, you've got a 95.95% graduation rate. So that's 10 points higher than the GCI that you see. So there's a story behind, as I said in the beginning, there's a story behind those numbers. So we'll talk a little bit more specifically about what the high school's doing for the GCI in a minute here. For our achievement gaps, pleased with our results. The achievement gap indicators for English and math each have a performance rate and corresponding performance level reported for the following groups: Asian students, Black students, Hispanic students, multiple races, white students, economically disadvantaged, English learners, and students with disabilities. There are a set of rules applied that use the performance levels for each group to determine the overall performance level for each achievement gap indicator. Pleased with these results, and know that this is continually a focus of our administration and staff. We do have students that obviously hit multiple groups and are counted each time as those results are looked at. So some of the conclusions from looking at the data. Our increases and drops mirrored the state data's increases and drops from 2019, 2022, and 2023. I did discuss the transition grades. Those third grade, sixth grade scores did improve in other grade levels. Keep in mind that the state's All-In initiative, they did that because they saw that across the state, that there were struggles in grades 3 through 8. So the All-In initiative, the tutoring, the reading specialists, the attendance focus was really at grades 3 through 8. When we dug deeper into grade levels, outstanding level of achievement at the 8th grade, you'll see that they're right there with the state averages, if not higher than that. And in fact, writing aid scores were higher than the state average. Science increases at the elementary campus were greater than the state elementary science gains, so the focus at the elementary level proved to be noticeable. And then algebra and geometry at Manassas Park High School had large increases and closely mirrored state averages. So if you dig a little bit deeper, these were some of the conclusions that were drawn from that. So several action steps at the division level. So myself and the instructional team have been spending a lot of time to start over the summer and to start the school year, focusing on lesson planning and preparation. We've really focused on that at each of the 4 school buildings. We have a great tool called Common Curriculum that can input the standards and make sure that we're teaching about the standards, that we're looking for particular skills that students should come away with and knowledge that they should have for each subject area. I think it helps teachers with their instructional delivery, helps them design better assessments, and with better assessments, you have better data to take action on. We spent a lot of time this summer on the ELA curriculum writing and alignment, so it's aligned grades 6 through 12. That's a first. So we're very excited about that. Really having discussions about what novels we're reading and why, and what does that line up with our standards. As you remember from last spring, came to ask for the purchasing of new science resources, so that's gone over really well, and that we had a different resource for each of the schools because that's what was needed. And there was a lot of curriculum writing that took place over the summer, so they're working through all of that. We've added math manipulatives, and we're going to add some more to our lower elementary, and then also math movement. We have an expectation of common benchmark exam delivery. We have switched from Performance Matters to Mastery Connect, which is an Instructure Canvas product. So for teachers, it looks like Canvas, it feels like Canvas. It provides what they call a heat map, so it's easy for teachers to identify where their students are performed on assessments as far as particular standards. Did they do well? Did they not? What can we do to improve that? So we know at each building these data discussions are taking place. We are focusing at the elementary level, especially in-depth intervention plans and student progress monitoring. Always continued focus on EL strategies. Elevation's a great platform for us, for our teachers to use as they see the progress of their English learner students. We are developing walkthrough schedules, so we will be doing walkthroughs in the second quarter coming up here. KickUp, which is our new platform for evaluations, for tracking professional learning, also has a foundations component, and there are also heat maps on that for us as we do our walkthroughs. We'll be able to identify, okay, well maybe we need some more professional learning in a particular area, or this is going really well, this teacher or group of teachers might be a model for whatever it might be. We provided more of an academic summer learning experience, so the instructional team wrote the lesson plans and worked closely with the teachers to ensure that those were aligned and that they were really instructional focused to help students recover some of those math and language ELA gaps that they have. And then our team is also doing a secondary teacher leader academy, so that would be for people that are grade level leads or department chair leads, and giving them some experience and knowledge on what does it mean to be a teacher leader in the building and how can that support instruction. And then specifically at the buildings, talk closely with the principals, and they wanted to highlight these different items. At Cougar, again, the math manipulatives, UFly has been a wonderful program across Cougar, MPE, and even into the middle school as far as building phonics and phonemic awareness. Again, that intensive intervention at CES, they're really looking child by child and making sure that not only do we have high expectations, but we expect students to move in certain ways, to have improvements that aren't blanket across all students, but if a student starts here, then they should be here at the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, end of the year, but it might look different for each student. Same at MPE, UFly is being consistently implemented. I think that's going to really contribute to some improvements in reading. And of course, we're getting into all the science of reading. We're transitioning to all of that for next year. Expanded Tier 2 interventions, and then really a focus of our Tier 1 instructions. So that's for all Tier 1 instructions for all students, and then intentional focus on writing about reading. You can see the all-in tutoring will also be part of MPE. For the middle school, improving a Tier 1 ELA instruction, we have a great partnership going with George Mason and their TTAC department. Academic vocabulary has been a big focus at the middle school for science and also math. And then requiring teachers to develop student-centered learning targets. The high school focusing on differentiation in science, providing intensive supports for new teachers, and then, of course, improving the graduation rate, which is on the next slide. So Mr. Forrest and his team, our on-time graduation coordinator, Mr. Bunner, our testing and intervention coordinator, Ms. Morrison, and our assistant principals have been working closely to focus on the graduation rate and the dropout rate. The counselors conducted summer audit of students' graduation progress. They literally went through each student, made adjustments as they needed for that particular child. We are going to schedule, well, we already have scheduled quarterly cohort review. We're going to go through that cohort list, really look closely at our withdrawal and exit information. Individual student meetings will be important for the graduation plans. They added a senior seminar to the master schedule, so seniors that have testing needs are given a block of remediation for each required test until they pass. So this has been huge. The senior seminar has been a big win, as well as adjusting the fall testing schedule. Already 40 students have passed a required test. So that might have happened in the spring and just kind of getting there before graduation. Well, now it's taken care of, and if they have other needs, they can continue to do their remediation and retest. So senior testing will be completed earlier. They're going through senior schedules, making sure that they're in line. The work-based learning coordinator position may be an opportunity for us to work with students who are done with their coursework at the end of the first semester, but could come and do their work-based learning 4 days a week, and then potentially have a day where they're coming in and doing a career strategies class. And again, that work-based learning will count for the CCCRI. They're reviewing all the transfer students' academic needs and credits. That does get complicated, especially if students are coming from out of state or out of country. So we've had a lot of discussion about that. And then reviewing GED and certificate of completion options. So if a student's not going to get a diploma, are there other options for them, which is so beneficial for their future, but also helps the GCI as well. And I just wanted to share that, we went through the academic review process last year. We have been waiting to hear from the state on what that would look like this year, and we just heard last week that there's a new support framework that will focus on academic supports, professional learning supports, school climate supports, and staffing supports. So this is what the new framework looks like. I really don't have any other additional information on what it's going to look like for the academic review process. The principals have been working with their teams and leadership teams in the building to formulate and have been working on their comprehensive school improvement plans, which are directly tied to the data you saw this evening. So they're working at the team level, weekly, monthly, and then we have check-ins about the progress on that. So we're going to continue to do that and then see what else might come out of the academic review process. So that does conclude my presentation this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kelso. Do we have any board questions?
That's a lot of information.
That's a lot of information. Want to start on this end? Anyone, questions, comments?
I'm still processing as well. It's a lot of information. That's a lot.
I have a question. On slide 15, you talked about that we're at level 2, I think. I don't understand the levels. Can you just explain that a little bit on slide 15?
Okay.
I don't
Which
think
one was
that's-
that? The
Not that one.
The
CCCRI?
Yeah,
CCCRI,
yeah. You said that's level what again? Level
So
one or two?
level 2. So
Okay.
level 1 is good, level 1 is green. For the most part, we're level 1 for things. We do have some level 2s. This is one of them. Then the groups, that was another one. Level 3s are red.
Okay.
So for level 3, we have science for each of the buildings, and then chronic absenteeism.
So we're level 2. What is the action? Like, what does the state do anything? What's the implication of being level 2 for this?
So it's hard to say right now because last year it was something different. This year we haven't been given guidance on that.
Okay.
So I'm not really sure what's going to happen. Level 3 is something that would require true academic review.
Okay.
So right now that's science at the buildings as well as the chronic absenteeism. So
Okay.
typically it requires the comprehensive school improvement plan and then some, meetings internally. It could involve involvement with the state, but I'm not sure if that is even going to happen this year.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
In years past, wasn't it, if you were at level 2 for multiple years, then it automatically basically became a level 3? Okay.
I had a comment. I really liked maybe because we just went over it, but the action steps, the Manassas Park High School action steps for the CCRI. My mind immediately went to the strategic plan, and so it was really good to see that alignment that we're creating these different schedules, different opportunities for the students, and so I really applaud the efforts of the high school because I know it's difficult with all the requirements they have to have. So it's great that we're tweaking things to meet those students and get them where they need to be.
I think my only question was going to be about what's the plan, but you shared that, so thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I also had sorry, were you good? Okay. I also had a question about the science, but you also kind of talked about it, like the new curriculum that we updated. I wrote down how's that going, because I remember last year's. So do we expect to see increases in the science performance with the new curriculums? Awesome.
I do think so, and I did do some comparisons with local schools, and I will say our middle school is the performance numbers you see here, or if you dig in specifically to it, are higher than those comparisons that I made with schools that have similar demographics.
You said the 8th grade writing, it was really good, right? So is that 8th grade, they're now 9th graders?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're the 9th graders that are.
And it's really a model, and Ms. Tuttle and I have talked about this. They really went above and beyond. It's high expectations for students, and I think they're setting a tone at the middle school, at the 8th grade, that we're all in this together, and that we need to have those expectations for students across the board. They can do it. They can do it. It's not an issue of can't. So they did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Are there opportunities throughout the year to kind of get updates on this? Because I know graduation rate several years ago was something we used to kind of get updated on because it was such a hot button topic. Is there
Whatever
just kind of
you would like.
incremental? I mean, you guys kind of know more than when you've got measurable data that you can kind of show where the progress is being made. Just that way, we kind of know the progress as it's happening.
And if there's anything specific, you can certainly let me know, and we can talk more about that.
Thank you.
I had another question, or I know we talked about attendance and absenteeism in the work session, but looking at like the senior specific, and we use that word enrolled seniors, do you think that hiring those attendance positions will really help keeping track of those withdrawals that we couldn't really follow up on?
I think so, because it's really student by student. Attendance impacts these numbers too.
Absolutely.
I think, some of the high chronic absenteeism rates reflect in some of this data as well. So I'm hopeful that you'll see a correlation of improved attendance and improved scores as well.
I'll just end one on a no positive. I really liked the action. I highlighted the Manassas Park High School action steps, but I really like the action steps of all of the schools. So thank you guys for sharing those. We know it's a lot of work to come up to dig into the data and come up with these. So reviewing them, it looks like you guys have a great plan, and so we are looking forward to seeing the results and everything that comes in the next couple of meetings. So thank you.
And we're about to give our quarterly assessments in a week, this week and into next week. So we'll have some initial round of data.
Thank you very much. Sure. I'm really looking forward for the long game here, having understanding what the U-Fly programs are and how that's going to positively affect especially the middle school going forward. I'm really looking forward to that, seeing the results of that program and that hard work.
We are too, and it was something, it's hard to start programs in the middle of the year, but our team did a really good job of that last year, starting mid-year, and by the end of, well into the spring, it was quickly adopted by the teachers, which is a credit to them, to the administration, for jumping right in on that, and that you can see the students that went from second grade to third grade, so from Cougar to MPE, they know exactly what to do. There's all these hand motions and the practice and the repetitiveness of it. Certainly, the way it's all common across the grade levels, it makes it more standardized. I think we should see results from that. Questions?
One last, science, you said we were level 2 or
3.
3. Because I was looking at the individual
middle
schools,
school.
and most of them I see are 2, but then
The middle school.
is 3. So I was just trying to figure out why if the middle school is 3, but all the other schools are at 2. How do we end up in the 3 categories? It just
For middle school. I'm sorry, it was for the middle school.
okay. So it's per school then. It's not like
Yes,
a blended
it's per
district
school.
rating. Okay, got it. All right. You answered the question. Thank you.
And that's, again, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Right.
Makes it very tricky.
Yeah.
If you were to break, do you know off the top of your head, if you were to break that down by grade, which grade is the one, is there a particular grade that's really bringing that average down? Or is it kind of all 6th, 7th, and 8th grade? Because they said 6 is the transition grade, right?
So they only test in 8th grade, so they test on all the content of 6th,
It's the
7th.
curriculum that they
and
learned 2 years prior.
It's 3 separate subjects, so I think that makes it, so not only in 8th grade are you trying to get through your physical science curriculum, you also have to make sure that you're covering or reviewing 6th and 7th content as well. So that.
Okay, I got it, yeah.
It's a challenge.
Anything else? Anyone? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Calso. All right, now onto the action agenda. Bullying Prevention Month proclamation. So whereas it is important for Virginia students, parents, teachers, and school administration to be aware of bullying and to encourage the discussion of the problems associated with bullying, and as a school community, I would like to request a motion to approve the Manassas Park City Schools Bullying Prevention Month proclamation as presented in school board docs.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to upcoming meetings. So we have a special board meeting Monday, October 30th in board chambers on the 2nd floor. We have a regular school board meeting November 13th at 2nd floor in board chambers. And then we have the upcoming VSBA annual convention November 15th through 17th in Williamsburg, Virginia. So now on to board member comments. And this, actually, Crystal or Miles, would you like to start us off?
She always makes me go first. Thank you to everyone who came out to the Special Olympics today. I wasn't able to go, but I would like to shout out Crystal, who I believe had a little speaking piece at the beginning, right?
A little speech.
Okay. And I would also like to thank our chamber singers that sang the national anthem. once again, congratulations to Justin. I'm honestly amazed at how far he has grown as a student and as a person, and I'm proud to call him my friend. I just want to say thank you to all the school counselors. I know that was not all of them that were here, but I've had a lot of them, and honestly, I would not have been able to get this far without the countless hours sitting in their offices just talking about stuff. So I'm very grateful for them. And one more special announcement. This will probably be in the November meeting at some point, but I just wanted to shout out a couple of our high school students that made the VMEA Senior Honors Choir. Shout out to Sarah. And Sarah Damon, and I would also once again like to shout out Justin Victor, who was selected as a second alternate for his section. There are 3 members of that choir. I mean, there are 3 seniors that got in from Manassas Park. I am the last senior, but you know, I don't like to toot my own horn that much. So, also, thank you to all of our student volunteers. Our family markets, our other special events would not be the same without you guys, especially our NHS members and our Beta Club members. I'm a member of both organizations, and I really do understand the amount of work that goes into not only planning, but helping out with these events. So thank you guys so much. And last but not least, please make sure you check on your seniors. It is the smack dab in the middle of college application season, and we're all freaking out. So please, please, please make sure you're checking on your high school students, especially your seniors.
I have dates to share. Okay, so this past week we had, or these past like 2 weeks, our first choir concert at the high school was October 4th. It was amazing. I think all the groups did very well, especially for their first concert, and I think our next one, December 15th.
I think so.
December 15th, I think it'll definitely be better and more fun. And then our first family market was October 12th. It was a success. There were so many people, and the line went all the way down to the athletic hall, and I was like, ooh. And we gave away a lot of the food that was there. And October 12th was also the middle school choir concert. I attended because my sister's in choir. Miles' sister, Cassandra, had a solo in the combined number, and she did amazing. And Mixed Chambers had a Hilton performance October 14th, this past Saturday. It was good for the amount of people that we had. You know, we had only like half our choir because people had a marching band performance. Marching band performance was good at the, I don't know what it was. Yeah, it was something for the military or something, I think. Huh?
Was that the Naval Academy?
Yeah, the Naval Academy. They placed 5th out of 6th, and they had the same score as their last competition, but they said that's basically improvement because it was worse conditions, so props to them. And then our Special Olympics was this morning. It was a very exciting event. I enjoyed being able to help out with like all the kids and stuff, especially seeing as how most of them are my neighbors. So it was like, hey, nice to see you again. And then upcoming events, October 19th, this Thursday, is our fall band concert, and I will be attending because I love the band. October 24th is middle school track regionals. October 25th is the last middle school volleyball game. October 26th is the last high school volleyball game. October 30th is our rescheduled home football game because they missed the one in Richmond. And November 1st is Palooza night. November 3rd is our homecoming game. November 4th is homecoming night and VHSL competition day. November 7th is district auditions. And yeah, that's all I have. And I really want to shout out to the choir because we slayed so hard. Oh my gosh, we did so good. And yeah, I think that's all I have.
All right, Ms. Slobodnik.
I just wanted to say a quick thank you to all the staff who attended tonight's meeting and those who presented and who left us. It was, no offense to our people we usually hear from, but it was really a joy to hear from the staff members here in Manassas Park and to see them in the meeting. So thank you guys for attending. We enjoy your company.
Ms. Albright?
I just wanted to say thank you for the community's support at the Special Olympics today. It was really nice to see our fire and rescue, the state police, our local police, and the city of Manassas coming and having a good time with us. So thank you.
Mr. Cummings? Dan?
Yes, all right, so as Crystal said, I want to say, shout out the high school marching band. I'm a little bit of a nerd, not going to lie. They had an excellent performance at James Madison University's Parade of Champions. That would this past, weekend before October 14th, it's first weekend of October. Coming up, they have Voboda, which is basically their SOLs. This is their huge state assessment on October 28th. I will be there, albeit a little different hat, but I'm really looking forward to seeing their performance. I've really heard that they've come a really long way and they're rocking out.
All right, Dr. Jones.
All right, thank you. Again, I just wanted to congratulate Justin on the Most Valuable Cougar, so congratulations to him. And thank you to all the staff that attended tonight. We do appreciate you being here. That's all I got.
All right, I'll be quick. Thank you to the principals. It's good to see you guys. And Nourishing Ninjas is in desperate need of funding, so if anyone's watching, please think about donating. I think they have an Amazon wish list, and I'm sure they do. Okay, so but please consider them. So if that's it, I think we can get a. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, this meeting is adjourned.